made it illegitimate by screaming about pedophiles.
Meaning what?
That nobody cares, because whenever the spurgs come in, whenever the people come in, they can't have a sense of subtlety about it, where it's like, even if this shit is real, it will never be proven, and it just muddies the waters, where if we could get them on real shit, like Uranium One, government espionage, her fucking dealing with, like, other governments, like, she sold the complex component that is the catalyst for nuclear bombs to fucking China in Uranium One. Like, whether we'll simplify it or not, that's like, you treasonous bitch, we should hang you in the public square.
For being fucked.
Because if nukes are real, like, are you out of your goddamn mind?
Yeah.
But again, we won't get them on any of this because people have already muddied the waters by talking about the stuff that, if it is real, it can't be proven, and it doesn't do anything to talk about, like, if they are child-worshipping, satanic, child-trafficking pedophiles, like, and I, in some ways, wouldn't doubt it at all, but there's plenty of other stuff we could get them on that we never will, because the world's already been like, oh, anybody that believes, that questions the government is a fucking psychopath or a really
conspiracy
weird
theory,
or an honest like you.
Or a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. They think that conspiracy theorists are all just, it's like, yeah, fucking Obama's wife has a penis. There's people that believe Obama's wife is a man. There's people that believe Venus and Serena Williams are actually men. There's people that fucking believe everybody's reptiles. There's people that believe fucking, like, but again, this stuff does nothing to move the legitimate narrative along of actually persecuting these people in the real here and now for crimes that they really did.
It's all just a conspiracy.
Yeah, it's like none of it can be proven, but there are things that can be proven that they actually did, but that we will never put them away for. So if they did any of that, I don't know why anybody would think that they'd ever go. It's like Hillary is going to probably die in a beautiful, picturesque mansion with more money than you or I will ever make in multiple lifetimes, with a family around her of grandchildren and their children's children and her ancestors.
She did
like,
nothing wrong.
And they're all just gonna be like, because they love her. They're like, it's their fam. Like you love your family. Like they're your family. Like they fucking, and they don't look at it as like to them it's just their grandma. It's just it's your mom. It's just your daughter. It's just like, and so she's gonna have the whole clan around her as she's like dying in her hospice in her bed in a really ripe old age, because they've got money. They will live as long as they fucking can.
Yeah.
People that think it's ever gonna be a world where you're going to get justice, where any, like, these Q parts, it's fucking trust the plan morons who it's like, you really think that Q is real at this point?
Are you talking about trust the system or work?
No. If you don't know Q was apparently a faction or anonymous source that has been operating within the government that a lot of people either believe is a source within Trump's administration or it's Trump himself. But anybody that has a fucking brain by now realizes that Q is just probably a limited hangout or a LARP where they're just fucking leading these people down a fanfic level of like, yeah, the country, like right now, Q-tards believe that the country has been shut down because the CIA and the military are moving in on these pedophiles and these fucking Luciferian
while everybody's inside,
evil elites, and it would look like a military coup to the public, so they can't have everything, so they have to shut you down and basically do martial law. And right now they're going after Hillary and the Pope and fucking Steven Spielberg and Ellen DeGeneres and Tom Hanks and fucking Seth Green, like in Hollywood, and all of it, all the fucking Jewish banging. Like it's basically like, if you've been in this shit as long as I have, it's fucking fan fiction. It's like everything you want to happen and more. It's like, this isn't fucking real. This is fucking stupid. And then, dude, the libertarians come in and they're like, what, man? The fucking free market, and then we get the wall, and then the fuck.
It's goddamn a story.
Yeah, it's fucking retarded ass. It doesn't live. It's non-nuanced, on living in the real world. Just blather. They're not even thinking about that. This is never going to happen. There's never going to be a day of retribution. There's never going to be a reckoning. They are actively taking people's guns away. They are actively right now introducing curfews that if you are out, you will be cited, you will be fined, you will be persecuted, you'll be prosecuted. Like, people that think that it's not, like, they are actively daring you to leave. They're basically like, you feeling froggy? You feel it? Like you fucking want to do something? You want to do? You really want to do something? Like they're actively fucking asking you to do something, and nobody is going to do anything. We are never going to do anything in this country.
That's
Because
the
to do
point.
anything, it will require you to stop talking about it. Our fucking ancestors, if those dudes were real, in the fucking colonial era and the Boston Tea Party, and when we gained our independence from Britain,
They're looking at
fucking,
us in
we told them to
shame.
fucking, they went around murdering people for a 3% fucking tax. Those dudes were gangsters. We are captive dogs. We are pussies. We've got our Animal Crossing Wild Worlds. I'm thinking about picking up that fucking Dragon Ball game for my DS. We're talking on PS3, PS4s right now. You can watch a million things, play a million things today. You can do whatever you want. You can lose yourself in all the fucking degenerate, escapist, hedonistic media, from porn to fucking The Price is Right to TikTok to fucking anything. What are we gonna do? Anybody in this, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna go out in the streets. You're not gonna fucking, because we are comfortable, because we are pacified, and we are never going to do shit, and they're just going to actively keep fucking with you.
And that's true.
Yeah, it's like anybody that
Because if you think about it too,
time,
if you really do think about it, back then in like colonial times, it's really the same shit.
it's just feudalism, man. Like, they come to your house and they tell you, like, well, you need to get this up to code, and it's like, well, why? Because it's implied that if you don't, we might come back with men from the state and men with guns, and we'll make you. Or we'll just take you away and imprison you. And if you don't let us put you in that box, you say you don't want to go in a cage, sir? Well, we're gonna shoot you. Or we're gonna force you out of the goddamn house, and you get in that motherfucking cage at gunpoint. And this
But they
is all
don't look
implied
at. But they don't
with a
look
knock
at it
the
like.
door. This is all implied with, like, hey, have you paid your taxes? The tax man's coming.
Like the whole thing about like terrorism, so, like I'm sure they're like real terrorists, but a lot of times like people, I feel like revolts and terrorism is two different things, because sometimes there are people that don't
Terrorism
listen.
is holding the populace or the public's consciousness hostage with fear or the unknown, so you can change the rhetoric or the narrative to get what you want. It's really like the Democrats right now are engaging in terrorism against the American people, the American working class, moreover, with what they're doing with the stimulus package, because they just voted against it for a third time yesterday. So while people are losing their fucking businesses, while the unemployment is going to be at 30% by the summer, while people are shuttering and shutting down, this is literally going to be like the origin and the genesis of the cyberpunk future, where all major conglomerates and corporations control the world and everything has been sectioned off. And
Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so all the money goes to the corporations, right?
Yeah, and all the money is right now, dude. You know how fucking rich we're doing Black Friday, Christmas week business every day at Walmart. Like, it is fucking Black Friday from the time I get there at 8 o'clock to the time we close at 8:30. And there are still people trying to fucking bust the doors down. Like, they are going to be the richest corporation after this is all over. They're going to take over everything. They are going to absorb any mom and pops that are left. Like, people can't afford, like, local businesses can't afford this because the economy is now just completely on pause. They just missed spring break, basically, this huge economic boon to them. It's like, yeah, no, we're not getting that money. And everybody left. Because nobody's coming in because everybody's scared. And now the hotels are shutting down, restaurants are shutting down. Like, we're in a fucking, like, if we stay shut longer than 3 months, there are experts, there are financial analysts and economists who are way smarter than you or I. They say that it's not going to last. Like, the country is going to collapse if we shut down for more than 3 months.
Well, no, that would make sense though, all in all, because
what I really think, legitimately, though, because I'm even going on like source like fucking Poll and like Revenge of the Sis and like the things that are not normie things, it's like, I think this is legitimately a world crisis because everybody is freaking the fuck out. I don't even think that, like, nobody's even blaming
my
the
friend
Jews.
in
Like,
Wales, he just
there's nobody blaming the Jews for this, dude. Like, there is nobody that's like, the fucking like, and usually a lot of people are like, it's the Jews, man, this is the Jews again. And like, no, there's nobody blaming the Jews for this. And there is usually a lot of spurgs online that will blame the Jews for everything in their life. She sucked his dick! These fucking Jews!
Yeah. Makes
It's
sense.
because she's the thought that she fucking fucked my brother! These fucking... And I don't blame anything on anybody in my life. There are, like, legitimately some people did some things. That's undeniable. But a lot of people did some things. Who cares? If anybody thinks that you ever will, or anybody ever will grow up, and I don't want to say wake up, but the sunlight is coming in through the blinds, and that alarm is going to be going off soon.
I'm very interested to see what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, man, this is interesting as all get out right now. Like, it's, if anything, Trump is going to be our president probably for. I mean, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if people try to make it like Putin and they just put Trump in power forever, even though that won't fix the larger problems. But right now, he really is in his second term again because he's reassuring the American public every day. He's on the news every night. He's on the radio. People are seeing his reassuring presence, his demeanor of like, oh, he's leader in these times. Like, as he said himself, he's like a wartime president now, and a lot of people are saying like, yeah, this is Trump's 9/11. This is going to be his 9. People were saying that this was either going to be his 9/11 or his Iraq, in that he was going to fuck up the situation so bad with the way that George Bush did with fucking Iraq and the weapons of mass destruction and shit, that people, and all the fucking stuff with Kanye, like George Bush doesn't care about black people, and people fucking hated that motherfucker for the longest time. His popularity went way down, whereas 9/11 was fucking him showing up with, no, it was 9/11 was George Bush, and fucking he showed up and like fucked it up with the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and then so a lot of people are thinking this is going to be Trump's wartime or his space race or his thing where this is going to unite the country around him. I mean, there's already stuff where I'm seeing that people are going back to the typical bullshit of this culture war, like the left and the right paradigm, the fucking the cultural Marxism and the postmodernism trying to sweep over America. Like, I've already seen articles now where they're trying to say that white nationalism is on the rise in these pandemic times because with the number of people that are quarantined and at home, that these extremist groups online have more of an audience now than they ever did. And there's also other groups that are always coming in trying to make it about them, and it's not that are saying like that it's anti-Semitism is on the rise, and that's the thing we really need to be concerned about in these trying times. Everybody, and then a lot of trans people are coming out now and saying that this is oppressive because our life-saving surgeries.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I did actually see something about that. Cause
and it's like, so you mean that because you need to cut your dick off or turn your dick into a vagina, like you want a fucking person that is dying to be taken out of a bed, or you want a bed to be taken up for that? Like, we just deserve, like, what's happening, dude? We deserve the end. Like, a lot of people are going to die if this is legitimately real, and you know, a lot of people need to die. Because there's too many weak fucking morons. You know what happened in San Francisco? They clogged the sewer system because people were flushing t-shirts down their toilets after they were wiping their asses with them because they didn't have toilet paper.
And where?
San Francisco.
Oh damn.
And not to mention, on top of that, there was already fucking feces littering the city everywhere, and fucking needles, because they had a free needle exchange from the government paid for by your taxpayer dollars. And it's like, oh yeah, if we just give everybody free stuff and let socialism run amok, everything won't go wrong. It won't be red lines and a bunch of poor parasitic idiots living on top of each other, so angry and perturbed by their situation that we've only got a matter of seconds of a pin drop to have a fucking riot break out.
It will buy you more time.
Yeah, I mean, damn, that's actually crazy. I'm surprised that didn't happen to like New York. I thought you said New York at first. I was like, okay, that makes sense.
No, New York's going insane, man. They just had apparently 200 deaths yesterday in one day from coronavirus. Like, it's now full blown infected the city, like a major populous sector.
Yeah.
They have
but if New York it goes down, then that's basically America. Not really, but like A lot of it. As far as the economy, right? Or am I correct? I don't know. I don't know enough about this shit,
I
man.
probably know about as much as you, man, as far as the economy. The economy, like, there's a book by Tom Clancy that will explain to you how the economy and the stock market works as simply as it can be put. And that book is probably about 2,000.
Well, isn't New
pages.
York like the one of the biggest stock trades other than the one in Tokyo?
That's where the stock trade is.
Because I know that one of the top, I know it's like New York, Tokyo, and then there's one more, but I don't know where. I think we have two big ones in America, but
Another life
Very-
support capsule is now available.
Very interesting right now what's happening. And it doesn't matter because if it is another 9/11, and I think it is, you will never know what happened. We still don't, and nobody cares about 9/11. Nobody even grasped how much they fucked us then and how much they're gonna fuck us now.
well, all I know is that someone's gonna get rich off of it.
Oh yeah, you can be assured that people are being robbed blind right now, people are being made rich, and other people are losing everything they ever worked for. Fucking while the Democrats hold up the stimulus package, and it's not to say that it's like the good guys are the Republicans, but it's like the guys that are trying to get American people money right now are the Republicans. But it's not good versus evil, because it's very nuanced, it's very like, there's a lot of bullshit with the neocons and rhinos, Republican in name only. The majority of Republicans are that. You realize when you get into it, it's fucking not one side versus the other. It's not good versus bad. It's not black and white. Like, you all are lying in the real major narratives. Like,
Yeah, well, some people call it.
borders,
I've heard what
massive
some
racial-
people call it is it's like you gotta decide between the two evils or something like that.
the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's really even that at this point, cause that's like they could like anything they run for, they can't just like you can't make every promise, you know.
I mean, they were, the way that they were gonna, and why they're delaying this is because they wanted to put things in the bill, like their bill had, Pelosi and the Democrats' bill had like, I think, what should have been a 10-page bill about this fucking coronavirus crisis. It was like a,
When you are ready,
I think it was like a
go to extraction.
4,000 page bill, 400. It's either 4,000 or 400,000, like an ungodly number of pages, like a fucking tome, basically, rather than just a little bill they're gonna pass to help out with this fucking stimulus package really quick to get cash in the American workers' hands. And their bill had things in it like money to go to Planned Parenthood, like we just
Well,
gave,
what
I
I've
think,
heard is that no one's
175 million
paying
to the
their
Kennedy
bills
Space Center.
anymore.
Again, nobody quote me on any of this. Right now, the reason they also don't want to, like, they also blocked it is because they wanted to be able to do ballot harvesting, which is like their way that they're going to win the election because they know they have nothing else. What ballot harvesting is that you're allowed to show up, say that you're at a ballot booth and you show up on behalf of like your whole neighborhood, right? And they would just have to say that, oh, my whole neighborhood is sick at home and they're doing stay-at-home procedures and social distancing, so I'm here on my entire neighborhood's behalf with these absentee ballots. So you can show up with like fucking 100, 1,000 ballots that are like, they don't know, they just have to believe you. They could believe you that like that came from your whole neighborhood and everybody signed them, but really it's just a bunch of illegal immigrants' ballots, or it's people that don't even exist. Fucking sometimes they use dead people, and then they just cast the ballot anyway, and that's how they get more votes in there actually. Because all the Democrats see people as is demographics. They don't care about. My sister said it best last night. She's like, the Democrats don't want to help the poor, they want to hurt the rich, and they'll fucking hurt us to do that, as they're doing right now. They are holding the American public hostage. They are the fucking terrorists right now. When people don't know how they're gonna pay their bills, how they're gonna get through another week, let alone fucking 3 or 4 more months of this shit, they just blocked you having at least $1,200 in your pocket. And for some people with kids, that's life or death right now. That's make or break. Like, you go on YouTube, dude, even the most normie comments on YouTube are talking about, like, these people have names and addresses, we need to flay them alive in the streets, we need to fucking murder them in front of their children. These are YouTube commenters saying this, and not I. We need to show up to Pelosi's house and rape that bitch and then fucking kill her in front of her grandkid. Like, you can go on YouTube right now, there's a lot of these videos, like, fucking, where, like, people are not happy. Like, this is...
Yeah, I don't think I would be either, though.
Yeah, man, if you fucking are a hard-working American, you fucking put up with the shit of actually doing a real job when these motherfuckers sit up there, like, they're not taking a pay cut. If anything, that bill was going to raise their pay. They were going to get a pay raise, and it's like, oh yes, because in these times of crisis, our civil servants, and they're not fucking civil servants no more, they live in goddamn ivory mansions. Palatial homes where, like, I'm for the people. It's like, then why do you live like a celebrity? Because politics is Hollywood for ugly people.
For what?
Politics is just Hollywood for ugly people. If you weren't pretty enough to make it as a celebrity and in Hollywood, you can go be a fucking celebrity and be in politics. Dude, the governor of my state...
That makes sense, man, because, like, the more I'm starting to...
He was on Epstein's Island.
Yeah, no, but here's the thing, though, is that, like, politics, man, like, I could literally watch that shit like a goddamn movie, and that's entertainment, man. Like...
Yeah, so you're living in the world, and it's actually going to affect you.
I know, but it's like... You know what I mean.
No, because I actually live in the world, and this is real to me now, and it's the realest that shit can get.
But, like,
when you
for a lot of people, though, it is hard.
Whether or not you're rich, and you are richer than me, you have a better off standing than me, and if you've got money, you are going to work for someone one day, whether it's a firm, whether it's a fucking yourself, if you make this take off, or, but like, this shit is real, and it will be as real as your aging body one day when you're surrounded by people that are like, you're part of my problem, man, give me your tax dollars, you fucking racist.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's more.
I want to fuck everything that moves, and then when I have 6 fucking illegitimate bastard children, you're gonna pay for it, you fucking racist. I should have been fucking euthanized from birth. My mom should have been given a stipend not to breed, but you're a fucking racist. And I suck at life, and you're a racist.
Yes.
It's your fault that I suck at life. It's your fault I didn't have a goddamn fucking role model or fucking family structure. It's your fault that I'm a little Marxist parasite.
Yeah, no, but what I meant by that was, like, for the average person, or not like I wouldn't say average person, but for the I don't know what I'm trying to get at there, but for a lot of people, like right now, I guarantee you most people aren't even watching TV shows.
Yeah,
they're not
most people have.
Or they're watching the goddamn news.
Yeah, and the news has got people like, the news is saying, like, this reminds us of, not since 9/11, not since 1917 have we, like, they are putting it in the public's consciousness right now, in the zeitgeist, to be like, be afraid, mice, run to your homes, let us keep you safe, let us keep you safe. Because they wouldn't, if they wanted to take over the world, it wouldn't be like in a fucking cartoon where they'd be like, I am Mojo Jojo, I am going to take over the tri-state. Like, it would be like, oh, there's this crazy virus, dude. It's going around killing people, man. You gotta get inside. You guys gotta let us take your guns away. You gotta let us put curfews on. You gotta rat out people for dancing at the local bar like we're in fucking Footloose.
Yeah, it's
Did you hear they were?
It's very subliminally. It's very like they're not gonna just tell you the world is gonna end. They're gonna probably let everybody party to death. You know?
I mean, not even now. They're shutting down the beaches. They're shutting down these kids who are like these spring breakers who are butt chugging on the beaches and were doing this shit like in toilets and stuff. Like now they're shutting down the beaches. They shut down, like they're shutting down everything, and everybody's going along with it because everybody's so fucking scared. That they're like, keep us safe, please. Take all our liberties away. Not that we really have that many anymore.
Yeah. And
it's gonna go and do what they're going to do. Like, this is going down, like, right now. Like, this is all... Local governments are the ones doing it. Local governments are taking away guns. Local governments are enacting curfews. Local governments are shutting down district travel, domestic travel. Local governments are preventing you from buying ammunition. Local governments are shutting down the fucking alcohol stores. Like, local governments are turning it into draconian measures. You
Yeah,
don't have
like
to worry at all about the federal government. Your local government's gonna fuck you up the ass.
well, isn't it the federal government that lets the local governments have these powers?
No, the local governments are their own jurisdiction. They are their own body of. When they go to Congress, I know probably about as much about this as I know more about this than you or other people, but like I don't know about this as like the people. So anybody taking my word for this, you're probably that stupid. But it's like the local governments can do what they want. Right now, Trump and them have basically just turned over power to the local governments to basically handle your situations. Like the ones that are getting masks supplied from outside retailers in like India or someplace in Guam. Like California, I think bought a bunch of medical masks from some outside medical retailer or whatever. And I was hearing Trump talk about that. He's like, they're getting it done. Like they're doing what they need to do. Like states are just handling this in their own way, and then they're handling it. It's like, yeah, they're handling it. They're taking your guns. They're locking you in your houses. They had a guy who.
Well, how many states would you think? I'm sure I could look this up, but how many
Jesus
states
God
are under those like?
3.3 million Americans filed for unemployment benefits amid this crisis.
Damn.
Our economy is like I don't know much, but I don't think that can be good. That many people out of work. We just had the highest rate of we just had the lowest rate of unemployment that we'd had since like the 1970s in this country, and now it looks like we're gonna go back to the 70s.
Didn't we just have like the highest employment? Because I remember when Trump became president, we had like the highest employment rates or something like that.
No, that was a lot of people say that Trump wrote on Obama's economy, but really Trump did things where they always tout like lowest black unemployment and then highest rate of fucking or lowest rate of unemployment
I know he fucked over some Hollywood's things like that were self-employed creators. Like if you were a self-employed content creator, I know he fucked over them, but
because it's like in being in his actual America, being in his actual economy, working for I was working throughout the entire Trump administration, whereas Obama's administration, I was a little fucking lefty, liberal, borderline commie piece of shit, degenerate, laying around fucking smoking weed and doing psychedelics, wondering about the fucking universe while the world burned around me and we were in the middle of one of the greatest recessions since but it didn't affect me at all and I wouldn't have even known because I was a little parasite and I didn't work for a living. So I didn't know at all how much Obama fucked this country. His limp-wristed fucking.
What would you say?
And people will never criticize him.
Because I've heard things here and there, but I've never actually. Nobody ever really told me how he fucked. But do you know any like Pacifics or?
All I know about Obama, some specifics, is that you can look this up. He murdered an American citizen on American soil with a drone strike. I think it was Anwar al-Awlaki.
I think I heard about that.
Drone strike. They called him like the drone strike king or some moniker like that. He drone strike multiple. And again, we're always doing this, but like people act like Obama was a fucking saint. He drone strike weddings. We drone strike fucking funerals. We drone strike schools. We blew motherfuckers to kingdom come. Fucking he denied journalists information under FOIA, Freedom of Information Act.
Interesting. So, like, it's interesting. So,
yeah, like the specifics, man. Obviously, if anybody out there gives a fuck, look it up for yourself and find out how he fucked this country. He didn't do this country any favors. And people that think he did, you only like him because he was a black president, and you're pretty stupid, and you're part of the problem if that's how you think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I find it interesting because I've heard like things here and there, but. Like, I've never really heard an exact reason.
And you never will, because no one will ever criticize him, because he was our first black president, so woke, y'all.
Yeah,
he caused the 2008 fucking financial recession, which we were still crawling back from at this point. Like, as far as millennials, my generation never came back from.
And another thing too,
since the Great Depression.
Another thing too is that I remember what a lot of people say is that it was around the time that he came in, and that's part of the problem. But I don't know. To be honest, when Obama became president, I lived up in Canada, man. So I don't know.
And if people want to talk about Russian collusion, it was proven that Obama's campaign was paid for by Saudi Arabian tycoons and billionaires. It's like, so what?
And it's always the,
Like,
isn't it like the
it was
companies?
never fucking proven that Trump even colluded with Russia to rig our election. It was a big nothing burger that they wasted the American taxpayer and the fucking American public's time for the last 6 goddamn years, and this impeachment shit for the last 6 months, and the fucking piss dossier, and the like, all of this shit was just a waste of time. But that is legitimately proven that, yeah, a black Democratic president was funded and fucking paid for by his campaign by Saudi Arabian billionaires. Like, literally Saudi Arabian money rigging your election. Like, taking a hand in your democratic process. So people can get fucked if they even think that they care about the truth. If they think that, oh, it's one way for this guy and it's not. It's like you believe what the mainstream narrative tells you to believe because you probably can't think for yourself. Because if you've ever asked yourself, do you have an inner monologue? Are you really a thinking individual?
It's gonna be an interesting episode, man. So
Yeah, I was hoping you were recording.
Yeah, I am. It's very interesting. Like, I don't know, it's very much from inner monologue to
They found that there's people that don't have an inner monologue. There's people that are, like we
They
said,
literally
they're like an
don't
NPC
think.
in a game. They don't. Or it's moreover that they don't think much. Like, they don't think much outside of, like, I breathe, I eat, I sleep.
Well, some people like the simplicity of that. Like, some people, because I know a lot of people.
Oh, you can bet the elites do. They want. That's why that the Democrats. That's why that the majority of the elites.
I want to
replace us
live
all
simple
with third world nations. That's why they want to immigrate people in here, because if they can't get you to vote for them, they'll just fucking breed you out or demographically switch you out, and they'll get a race of global homogenous cappuccino consumers in here that will vote for them. That will
and
buy their shit, that
I
will
do
drink
believe that. I very much believe that because there are countries, third world countries, that we say, because it's very easy to just say, like, pity them, you know? But if you pity them, they barely know how to fucking, you know? They'd have to build up from a lot.
There are a lot of places, like when people give America shit about, like, your carbon footprint, or you need to watch it with all the greenhouse gas emissions, and America is such a, like, empire, and it's such a polluted. It's like we do litter better than any other country. Like in America, our streets are fucking clean. We put trash in the proper receptacles, and we make sure parks are spotless. In America, you don't litter. That is a very big capital. Like, you see a guy throw a cup out the. I mean, granted, obviously in like New York and Manhattan, yeah, like there's probably. I hear even people that live there, like, yeah, you'll just see people just kick trash out of their car onto the street, or they'll just like dump trash in the streets. Like, yes, cities are a lot of people living.
Well,
stacked
cities
on
are
top of each
fucked,
other, and
though.
eventually it gets to like being the levels of, like, to quote BioShock, or to quote
Well, there's too many
character
people
from
to live in
BioShock.
a city, though.
Somebody's got to clean the toilets in Russia. There's always going to be somebody. There's always going to be gutter people. There's always going to be a need for drudgery, for a mundane working class, because if there wasn't, like I said before, it would be that people would realize they have no need for a ruling class, because we all have wealth, we all have abundance of knowledge and comforts, and the creature comforts and amenities of being wealthy, where there would be no distinction between wealth or class. It would just be that everyone has enough, there is abundance. But they don't want that, because then there's nothing that separates them from you. The Queen of England does not want to find herself standing in line in a queue with the likes of us.
Well, I mean, if it's true that when we started to enslave, like when people started to enslave people from other countries, that Africa hasn't even, that some people in Africa haven't even invented the wheel yet, then
when we got to the sub-Saharan continent of Africa, and again, people are like, you colonizing imperialist bastards, why didn't you just leave them alone? They would have had Wakanda. It's like, man, when they got there, there was no wheel, there was no written language, and you ask yourself, how can people be, like, I'm not justifying what people did, but history happened. If you're such a baby, and you're such a immature, like, you have such a myopic way of looking at the world, and actual shining through the past, and things that really did happen, they weren't just pictures in a book, Danny, to quote Scatman Carruthers. It's people don't understand that they try to put their little sensibilities, their modern day way of looking at the world as like, oh, we're better. We have smartphones and tight
Yeah,
pins,
but
dating
what
apps,
about back then? There was
women.
nothing.
It's like people don't understand that those people were different. Like all they looked at is, I guarantee you, at the time it would have been like everyone
Your
else
tribe.
has a slave.
It was probably
Everyone
like your
else has
tribe.
themselves
Shit.
a servant. I'm gonna go get me some slaves. It's just like you look around and you're like, everyone else has an iPhone. Did you ever eventually consciously ask yourself, like, I'm eventually going to get an iPhone, or do you just now have an iPhone? Like, pretty much everybody has an iPhone.
Like
I
a
don't
good
think that-
example, I think a good example is in
And again, I'm not
Minecraft.
justifying it. I'm not saying that, like, oh, you're treating people like iPhones. It's like, slavery is just people with power and money doing whatever they want to people that can't defend themselves from it.
Like, if you think about it in like a sense of gaming, if you play Minecraft, there's villagers that you can have them literally get wheat for you. You can literally have villagers that make food for you. That gets
Yeah.
you food, and you don't need to do anything, or you can literally get anything from these people. Now,
And I mean, what is that to them? Like, you may be an adventurer, but all the villager sees is that it's that dick from the mountains in his diamond armor and his diamond sword, that it's kind of implied that would he use that sword on me if I didn't have the weed for him when he came back for it? So they're just gonna probably keep doing the job.
Yeah, and it's like, it's very much like,
The very makeup and etymology of the
Like,
word
you don't think
slave,
about
for people
them
that don't
like
know
that.
anything about history, comes from Slavs and the Slavic people who were European, who were white.
Slavic.
But people just, when they think of slavery, all they think of is some white plantation owner like, I said, get boy! You won't! Like, and they fucking just see some like roots or some like Leonardo DiCaprio
Archetypes.
really over-exaggerated, fucking stereotypical shit where it's like, I really don't think that even if you were, like, only about 3% of the South owned plantations. It's just like the wealthy nowadays. There was not that many of them because they were the elite. There was the fucking elite, and then there was the rest of you losers. And if you were a typical white guy in the South, and they were bringing guys over from sub-Saharan continent of Africa to fucking enslave them and to have them do their job, you're gonna be a poor bum. You can read accounts and you can find, this stuff is hard to find again because this defies the narrative. Like, Myth of the 20th Century is a great podcast to listen to if you want to find out about how they've been lied to, about how much white people got fucked. But again, you say anything like this and you're a goddamn bona fide Nazi.
It's very much, I don't know.
Like, they have a whole podcast on white slavery and the history of it. Like, that one will blow your mind.
Oh, wow.
Like, you used to be able to be a young boy in the city, like in some parts of probably like, it wasn't North America, it was probably in London or Britain when we were there, but you could be like, say, you could go from the farm, right, and your mother asked you to run into town to get some milk, and so you get milk, and along the way, you stop by like some local market or whatever, and like you're sitting at a booth where you can get like a drink or whatever, and then you drink this drink, or you drink this water. Like if you drank a fucking pitcher, or if you drank something and you found a penny in the bottom of it, somebody would then come up out of nowhere and be like, "Oi, you've taken the king's penny, mate. Oh, so you're gonna be my intention servant." Like, and now you were in debt to them because that penny in the bottom of the glass represented your debt that you now owed them because you took the king's wealth. And so now you aren't going home to your mom. You're getting on a ship with this man you just met. You're signing a fucking contract, and that's it. You are an indentured servant. Like, it's just that easy to get your shit. Just like, hey, I'm gonna use you now.
Yeah,
People
but
think
those
that it was like-
times to people, like, if you think about it, what happened to black people around that time, the only reason why that's overshadowed is because it's more recent. Nobody goes back to royalty times.
Yeah, no one goes back to the fucking
When
potato
shit
famine.
really
No one goes back
mattered.
to the Polynesians enslaving the Polynesians, the Chinese enslaving the Chinese, the Africans enslaving the Africans. If you want to talk about genocide, if you want to talk about somebody that should have guilt, and they will never say like, "Hey man, what about your," like, because they're always like white guilt. You know, you've probably heard that term before.
Yeah.
But like, there's not Chinese guilt, there's not Polynesian guilt. Like, if you look at the Arabian slave trade, they transported so many slaves across the Horn of Africa that enough died in that exodus to be considered a fucking black holocaust. And they
Yeah.
castrated their slaves too. That's why you don't see a lot of their descendants or a lot of black people in the Middle East. But you never hear Arabians being like, Hey man, what about your Arabian guilt, dude? What about what you did to the Africans, yo?
Yeah,
No, it's only
what
white
about
people
what
because
you
they
did?
know that white people aren't, as a group, they know that as a group, white people and Europeans are the most non-collectivist group that there is, whereas everyone else has group identity of like, we are the blacks, we are the Chinese, we are the Mexicans, we are fucking Europeans, we are like, or not even Europeans, like Europeans and whites, like there's something about them that like, we don't think collectively, and that's why they can get you to be guilty, that's why they can get you to feel bad, and they can use your sympathy to take advantage of you and oppress you and fucking take everything from you. That's why you're a hated
The only
minority in
white
your own
group I've
country.
ever seen that has that collective thought is Australians. That's why I respect them. Like, as much as they get looked at like assholes, but they're not. They are the only ones that have that collective.
But again, it is one way for everybody else, and it's like every other group in this game is allowed to play identity politics. The moment white people try to equip that shit into their arsenal, people start getting scared. People start screaming about Nazis, and nationalists, and fucking start screaming about Weimar republics in Germany. And even though we're worse than the Weimar Republic at this point. If people don't think we are, like, look around. Or try to go have a family and see how far you get.
Yeah, no, I could never. I don't even know if I could. I would try, but it's like unless I was rich, fuck no.
People that, and I don't want to ever come across as like you have no idea how bad it is, man. Wake up. But like, really, you don't have.
Yeah,
Man,
no,
if you
because
only
it's
knew
like
or not.
most times it's like with people that want to have children or people that even have children, it's not even their kids.
Yeah, because men are so, and that goes on to a whole nother topic of how much that men have lost their station. It's just, like, you can even ask people, like, dude, I've asked women before, like, they're like, this all started when women got rights. Like, when we gave women the right to vote, it was the beginning of the end of Western civilization. Because women have an instinct, a maternal instinct, with a family. When you turn it onto a family, it's a very beautiful, nurturing thing. It's that the mother will always make sure that her babies have enough, you know, that everybody has enough, that it's equal.
Yeah,
But when
so
you
they're
take
gonna.
that and you turn that to politics, and you look at the world of politics as the left is the masculine, I mean the left is the feminine, and the right is the masculine. As the right is trying to conserve the resources that we have gone out and we have procured and that we want to give to the future generations, and we want this country to have something for the people that have children, the left doesn't have children now, and the majority of women nowadays that were given rights and became empowered, independent, strong, single women who are going to die with barren wombs and probably have their face eaten by whatever little adorable critter that has kept them company throughout their stay in eternity.
Yeah,
And it's going to be a very different story, because when you turn that instinct on women that have, like, when you take the motherly instinct of, like, I want to make sure everyone has enough, I want to make
what
sure
I
it's
have
fair.
a feeling too is
When
where
you
that
turn
whole
that
thing
onto the
came
world,
from.
these women then take it and they make it as immigrants are their babies. The rest of the world, these strong, independent, feminist women, these women that bought into Marxism, that are like, I don't need no man, I can do bad all by my goddamn self. I got daddy's duties. Like, that's why you don't need no man, because the government subsidizes the role that a man would play. You would actually need a man back then. You would have had to flock and cling to a man because you were not strong, you were not independent, you were not empowered. So when you take that maternal instinct of like, I want to make sure it's fair,
But
and you
I
turn
have
that
a
onto the
feeling
world,
though, is
then
I
you
feel
have
like it's
mass
all
immigrants
forgotten.
coming in. You have complete overrun of the country. You have them, because when they don't have a baby, Ben, they look at it as like, these Muslim immigrants, these Pakistani immigrants, look at what's happening to Europe right now. Their child rates are through the floor. The number one baby name is Muhammad. Their women are getting raped and murdered and sexually molested in Christmas markets. And the biggest thing they're worried about is coming across as racist, because these women don't have a child. These women don't have anything to look towards as that matters to them. So they look to the world to turn their maternal instinct on it to be like, it's not fair. How come it's not fair? And then you and everyone else starts getting fucked.
I feel like it's all just forgotten history though at the end of the day, because
His story is written by the victor at the end of the day.
yeah, but if you think about it though, like all this shit, like do you like what I have a feeling there was a time, and this is just off of theory, this isn't legitimate, this isn't facts, this isn't anything, but I I have a feeling that there was a time so long ago where women did have equal rights, and it got so out of control to where they basically took it out, and they took that, you know, and then maybe history got deleted. They just pressed that delete button.
Society that makes, when you look at everything from an egalitarian point of view, and that we are all the same, there is no differences, there's no binary differences at all, you are going the way to moral relativism and a godless, heathenistic world, and it's all going to fall apart. Because it all...
I know, but wouldn't you have thought, like, with how
like,
long humans been living and shit, there's gotta be some society that tried that.
Yeah, we're the one that's trying it, and look what's happening to us. We are falling off the goddamn edge. Men don't have a say or a station or a fucking command in this society anymore. You will be made to be the workhorse. You'll be made to be the plow horse, the fucking wallet, and that's all you are. And if you complain about it, you shut the fuck up and you man up and you fucking deal with it. You are not oppressed. You man up. There are women out there getting raped by men that they fucking knew were psychopathic criminals, but they went to anyway and they were wet. And if you even dare try to shame those women, as most people will try to shame you when you're a man, and they're like, well, you should have chose better. You should have chose better. You should have known she was going to divorce you after 50 years. Yet if you tried to do that with a woman, yeah, you should have chose better. You should have known he was going to beat you black and blue and kill the baby inside you. What? What? People will fucking spur out. Fucking, you got all these white knights coming up like, hey man, don't talk to my lady. It's like, dude, she's not going to fuck you. And you know what's going to fuck you is society and the man. Because she doesn't need you, she's got Daddy G, she's got the ultimate provider.
And that's just gonna leave her on the street.
Are forever gonna be extorted for that shit. And then people wanna act like you're so selfish, you don't wanna bring a kid into this fucking dying experiment. You idiots out there that are fucking for pleasure and you're not even thinking about the cosmic tantric act you're engaging in, when you stick your dick inside another living being, and another living being pops out 9 months later, and you think you can just go on? You are part of the problem, and you have no idea to even comprehend the problem. You shouldn't even be. In a perfect world, your parents would have been stipend not to breed. I don't care how mean you think that sounds. If we don't do things like that, if we don't hang out the parasitism and the fucking the stupidity and just the absolute idiocracy that we have become, we are fucked. And we are going off the cliff faster than you can. We're running, we're sprinting, we're fucking hovering to that fucking edge.
Damn. Yeah, no, but what could you really do about it? Or just
all you can do is get a good job and prepare for your world to hit the fan in some way. Because
the truth
world is going to change. I mean, right now, the world has already changed. If you weren't like me, think about it. Like, I had enough saved up to where I have 10 grand liquid cash right now. The majority of people don't have anything. They don't have any cash. They have no savings. They don't have shit. This is shit just has hit the fan for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's very much like, you see, because it's like, it's like nobody knows anything, for one. And the other thing too is like, I always try and go back to history whenever I don't have answers now, because history is, like, I don't know, I believe that there has been, like, you know the game The Witcher, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, basically, from just playing the story, as much as I love it, I understand it, the story is about banishing magic. And it's about this
magic
world.
Came to our world, and it's not welcome here. The realms crossed over.
Yeah, so they're doing everything in their power to banish it. I don't know, it's interesting. Like, what if that did? Like, what if something like that did happen? Magic came to our world, and I mean,
science, in a lot of ways, with what this postmodernist world wants to be, with all the science denial, and there is no objective truth, beauty, or God. Yeah, when you look at science in the, like, in its ultimate forms, like Tesla even said that we're in contact with a higher consciousness. Where that consciousness is, like, I'm probably butchering the quote entirely. Where that consciousness is seated, I am not entirely sure, but I think I'm close to finding it. Like, he believed that we are, like, and Jung and other really great minds believe that we are in some sort of artifice, that we are part of an organism, that we are like, they would be as above, so below, that it's like the thing that we are a part of, like the parts of the universe that they say work in tandem with our physical laws and our means of understanding this realm only go for about 10% of the world, and then the rest of reality is like this magical alchemical reaction that just happens, and then they say like, well, that's not weird, because then I'd have to admit that there might be a god. What's that? Because I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell.
Well,
That's
would
why
you
people
say
don't want to admit there's a god, because the majority of us, and if you're a man and you admit it, and
don't
you know
want to go
that
to
you're a modern
hell?
man, you deserve hell. You deserve modern society to collapse around you and you have nothing. Because if you are the modern man, and you are a textbook, heathen, fucking amoral, degenerate, you don't even realize how far into the maelstrom you have been pulled because you haven't tried to claw your way out yet. The light up at the top of the hole you fell into was the world that you once were a part of.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's very much like...
It's like I said, who are we to say we're better than them? We're not. Like, the majority of people are godless
assholes
heathens.
and fucking...
We left God behind, and we thought that, like, well, if I'm not actually in hell, if I'm not actually being tortured for all eternity...
Because even just if God, even if God isn't real, even if God isn't real, the idea of God is what's more important.
The idea of God, if you look at God as an idea, is the consequences of other people. Because that is God in the end of the day. Like, what other people are going to do to you for the things you did, that's God. That's the thing people fear. That's why people don't tread outside the lines. That's why there's such things as faux pas and mishaps and like, oh, that was not kosher.
That's not something I should be doing.
It's not kosher.
It's a learning experience. Like, that's
This
another
whole
thing.
thing is a learning experience. What if this is just the tutorial of the game we're playing? And like the game we're playing is so complex that like the tutorial is a game unto itself.
Fuck. It's gonna be a long ride.
Yeah, man. The Egg, Streets of Gold edition. I pre-ordered it, so I got like the gold heaven.
Yeah.
Fucking like, I look at like the Christian mythology and the things that are the Christian pantheon, and the things that I would believe as a young man when I was a Christian. And I mean, I've been like, if it is real and hell is real, then I'm good because I got baptized, I got that expansion, so I have that, so I'm good if that's real. Like, I'll be like, they'll try to fucking like throw me in, and then it's like, no, bitch, I got the buff on, I was baptized, so what? Like,
I don't got that
man,
buff. If I'm being honest, I never got baptized.
And then fucking.
But what
I
if
was,
baptizing is like the worst thing you could do?
or it locks me out of like the eternal, like it locks me out of like the DMT realm, and it's like, you're gonna go hang around a golden heaven with a bunch of people in robes, and you're like, no. You just get sucked away, and you're like, come back.
I
It'd
mean,
probably be really boring. It's like the rest of your family is there, and you live for all eternity, and like in the Bible, it was like, we're gonna
has
all
there
follow.
ever been? Do you think there's ever been throughout history from
We'll
like
all
a
follow Jesus
sacrificial
around today.
event where results have shown from sacrifice?
I mean, the Mayans and everybody that practiced sacrifice, like they pretty much just, when you start taking the rights and violating the reciprocity of like, hey, I'm gonna live in your society and you're not gonna sacrifice me on top of a giant altar for all of downtown, then you're pretty much going your way to ending your civilization, no matter how cool your totems and your idols are, and how much gold you have adorning your fucking empire.
Well, I mean, because sacrifice, as far as like real life, sacrifice is everything. You have to sacrifice something to gain something. Equivalent exchange.
To quote Jordan Peterson, you will make a sacrifice, or the sacrifice will be made for you.
Yeah.
Because what a lot of people don't understand is that you're sacrificing something every day, whether or not you know it or not. If you
Time
choose
is a
not
big
to go after the
sacrifice.
thing- yeah, if you choose not to take the risk because you think that, oh, well, my life could fuck up and then I could look like an idiot, or she could think I'm a loser, or people will think I'm dumb for trying to write that book, or like people like you're sacrificing your life in the pursuit of like, well, I'm not gonna ever do it because I'm gonna worry about it, and then one day you're going to worry about it into your grave, and you're sacrificing, or like if you decide to take this podcast thing and run with it, if we decide to run with it, then you are going to be sacrificing working and getting skills like from the jump legitimately to where if this thing doesn't take off in 5 or 6 years and you're like, oh god, I gotta go work for somebody, then you can like, it's gonna be a fucking like where
Yeah.
you're gonna have a head start. But it's like either way, you're making a sacrifice. I sacrificed when I thought I was gonna spend half a decade of my life trying to become whatever the fuck I thought I was gonna become. I sacrificed learning to drive. I sacrificed getting a fucking job. I sacrificed having fucking friends.
Well, this whole
of the time.
podcast thing is personal history, because if you think about it, you don't remember shit from your kids, from your past. Don't remember what you used to be like. I want to.
I remember a lot from my past. I can remember
I don't.
before I started, like, there's like the time before weed, and then there's the time before porn, and then there's the time, like, as the world started to warp you into the modern fucking dystopian denizen that you are, like, there's very many phases and times in my life when I look back and I'm like, yeah, I was different.
I don't know. It's very much more like, for me, I don't know, because I don't remember anything. I've forgotten about so much looking back that it's like, holy shit. Like, even if I thought I remembered something, it was never exactly how I remembered it. It was
I've seen
never.
it said in studies or experts, or they believe that anytime you go back and revisit a memory, you muddle that memory, you like distort it in some way. So when people are like, I can remember it like it was yesterday, I had on blue jeans and a green shirt, it's like, man, you probably had on a fucking red collared polo shirt and you had on shorts. Like, your brain is just constantly going back to it to like access it again, and it messes it up, it like overwrites it every time.
Yeah.
That's why when you remember something you haven't remembered in ages, it's almost like being there again. It's almost like, whoa, it's like time travel.
Yeah, but it's... I don't know. It's interesting because it's like I don't know, because I don't remember a lot of shit, man. Like, thinking back about like all this fucking shit, I don't remember it, and I just like I want to, cause what is there to improve on if you don't remember how it used to be?
Yeah, there's no new game plus.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I going back and replaying eternity over and over if I'm not keeping any of the skills or the perks or the fucking
It's like,
things that I acquired along the way?
because it's very much like, it's self-history and self-learning for me, because even if this is my only one life, I might as well learn as much from out of myself and out of this life as I can. You know?
Knowledge is power.
And at least, and if this is my second life, then at least I left something for maybe other lives to watch.
Yeah, if the atheists are right, and it's that we are just a single, just explosion, just a random chaotic event in a universe where the primary function is nothing, and it's just an empty void of dark matter and antimatter and atoms colliding off each other, and that we are the strange phenomena in our little box of...
Well, that would be basically magic
Oh,
at that point.
Yeah, like literally, like how can they say that? So at that point, the entire, the totality, the entirety of everything is nothing, and we, somewhere in all that nothing, are doing this. That is a miracle.
Whoa, I just felt like I was fucking back on psychedelics. Holy shit, that fucking... Damn. I haven't taken psychedelics in so long, man. Since I had like a... Whoa.
When you look at this life, when you look at video games from a point of like, everything in this world, like it's all psychedelic, but most people don't want to look past it and be like, this is just reality, man. It's not that crazy. It's like, if you were born once, how is that any more impossible than you being born again? Like, if we're only, the atheists say, like, once you die, that's it. It was just a singular fart, and then it just drifts off into the wind. And it's like, yeah, but how is it ever impossible that if you, out of that universe of nothingness, out of those colliding endless automatons and geodes and fucking geometrical shapes in the fourth dimensional planes and like all the shit that they don't even understand in quantum mechanics and pseudoscience and the shit where it's like it is basically religion. We don't know. It's a merging field. It's like that shit gets into like the arcane and then like the levels of like layer cakes that they say that we're just in a I forget what the name is that the Krishnas think or that the Indians think in their religion, but people that think that that's just that all of this after you die was just like no dude you can't do it again, it only happens once. It's like how did it even happen in the first place if it has that little of a chance of ever happening?
Yeah.
Like this is we are an explosion dancing around in nothingness, just flipping our fingers off at like the fact that we're like we're doing it. Like
Yeah.
the universe is like you can't. We're not supposed to. You can't. We are nothing. And you're like, bitch, I'm doing.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, shit, like, I don't know. It's very tricky to get into topics like that because, like, you don't know shit. No one knows shit. I don't even think.
People that think that they're so edgy that are atheists like that think that they can just simplify it. Like, we're all just clumps of cells. We're nothing, and nothing matters. It's like, congratulations, you're exactly the kind of demographic dystopian fool that the Democrats want you to be.
But it's like
you never vote.
But the other thing is like,
because it takes more to look at the world as like, what is this magnificent thing? Like this chaotic, beautiful, horrifying, strange.
Now here's the thing that scares me when you get into topics like that is that what scares me is that if the elites, like if the people that are considered the elites, if the people that are considered whatever the fuck they're called, whatever you want to call them, the top class, the ruling, whatever, they, if they don't know what the fuck is even going on themselves, which is what I hope they know, because if they don't even know, then that's
well, I think if they knew enough to know that we don't know what this is, but we're pretty sure you keep getting reincarnated into it, so like we said, they would establish that, well, it's a game, and you would gamify it. You ever heard of game theory?
Yeah.
You should look into that. That is a whole, like, to gamify the world, to game everything, to make it like, and that was like a guy in the 1940s that was espousing on this. So it's like they would probably look at it like, well, if we're just going to keep coming back and we don't know why or what it is, we're going to grab the reins of this thing, we're going to seize power, and we are never going to relinquish that power because I don't want to keep coming back to this thing as a peasant.
Yeah, which would make sense. They would try and take a hold of it, but if they really don't know what's going on, then that's scary. Yeah,
man. That's the scariest thing. If you think that the people that are supposed to have all the answers, the people that you're like, well, surely they would know, and they don't.
Then that would be scary as fuck because
it's like I keep making all the money I can. I kill all you fucks, and then I come back and I'm here with you again. What is it?
Yeah, what if it's like what if these people are just like in a loop, like like the devil? There was like a thing where it's like, I think it was on Rick and Morty, but there's other stories similar to that. It's like you win a boxing match, but yet you win the boxing match and party the hardest for your life, but you do that forever. And it's always the same.
Play on a Twilight Zone plot where it's like the boxing gloves will make you win the match, but then I think you're stuck in that arena forever or something like that, or like even after everybody leaves or something. It's like
every day is like every day is that box.
What you wanted, what you really wanted.
Yeah, and that's like
very
what
old,
if
like truisms and like themes of fables and things. These things date way back, like stuff people were thinking about since, and we don't even know.
Yeah, like if you think about it, like
really...
from like way back when, there was niggas talking about subliminal messaging even back then. So who really fucking that's another little scary thing, is like if they were subliminally messaging people from like royalty times.
Well, people don't really grasp how effective propaganda is.
Yeah, I guess that's
Doesn't
true.
even- Like,
But
they don't understand
propaganda
the
is
majority of
supposed.
Hollywood movies, especially nowadays. Like Netflix
Distract the
is
infested
propaganda.
cargo,
Like it is
cooperative
anti-white
supplies.
propaganda.
Set off
Every
the
new
alarm.
show,
Yeah, no, I've been.
every movie is a black main character and a white villain. It is a black main character with no flaws and a white villain, an evil white person.
Well, Hulu's start is propaganda, but it's different. I don't know. Like, I was really high once, and it was like I was comparing the different propagandas.
Well, I mean, if it made it out of the mainstream, even Sundance Film Festival, even South by Southwest, Hollywood, like Hulu, streaming, Amazon, Netflix, all this is all in a certain sphere. It's all in the mainstream. So it's all going to come from the filters and the processes in which that they go through. Like, there are things before a movie, before a piece of art goes out to the public, they dumb it down. They make it ready for mass consumption because the people that work on these things are brilliant. A lot of times, apolitical artists who just want to put their art out into the world. And if you don't go with the inner party, if you don't go along with the narrative, you don't toe the line, you're not going to get the money and the budget to make your art a thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, their narratives, their themes, the things they want to say with their art is completely censored and dumbed down and like chopped up, and like they're like, well, we're gonna put this
Well, I
out
mean,
and
actually, if you want to grasp or like have a sense of grasping propaganda, look at other countries.
Fallen enemies will drop crucial life
But
support.
then it,
not even other countries. Look at us. Most
Yeah.
people don't even know if what any of the stuff.
well, we
that
probably
they
have
tell
the
us
most.
is true. The only stuff that anybody really goes off of is mainstream news or social media or things off their phone.
Big
or something
names.
off of TV. Things that have already been established as, if you paid attention to the culture war in the last half decade, or at least since Trump got elected, they showed their ass in more ways than anybody with any sort of knowledge that, like, these people aren't very trustworthy. These people are a bunch of chicanerous bastards. It's like, nobody with an IQ of even fucking 80 needs to look at any of the stuff they've done and really think that they are a truly, like, a go-to news source anymore. Something that you're
Yeah.
supposed to look to be like, well, these guys are going to give you the what's what, they're going to give you the 411. It's like, no, they're not. They're going to lie about shooting
Everything.
ranges and make them in America and make you think like it's an ISIS shooting range. They are going to fucking film like the things that happen with Sandy Hook, or the way that they get a murderer, if they get like some like child rapists, or they have like they want the public in fear. They want everyone. They have been wasting the public's time with all this stuff they could have been reporting about that has happened in the past like few years, like the Covington kids, and then that little white kid being thrown off the Mall of America, like 3 stories in the Mall of America, and almost falling to his death. And they didn't. That wasn't all over the news. That wasn't like, can you believe this? This is like, dude, that kid was black. If that kid had been black, or fucking, if that had been a little gay Muslim kid, like, they would have not.
They would have been all over that.
They would have been running on 24-hour news networks, 7 hours back to back. It was just, the humanity, Chuck. I mean, can you believe it? And it's a child. It's a child. But no.
Like when I was talking to someone, like we were talking about everyone. Remember when we had that conversation with that one guy, and he's like, and I called him out for Mexicans enslaving like a shit ton of people, and he's like, no, it was. He started. I don't know. I don't remember what he tried to say, but it's like, no, everyone.
With the main, where it's like nobody that really understands that there are alternative sources to get your news now. Even no one believes these people anymore. They're liars. They are just fools. They tote the narrative.
And alternative news sources aren't even any better, because if you think about it, they don't know just as much.
Sources are way better because they're people just like you that are like, Revenge of the Sis is an alternative news source. They're people just like me in an everyday life. They happen to be in Florida, but they are dealing with this crisis, and you're getting it from the ground, like ground level of guys who are actually going through it, talking about like, what are these assholes doing?
I don't mean ground level. I don't mean ground level guys. I mean like
Tim Pool, yes, Tim Pool.
because you know how they pay
Fencing
people to
census
make
never really-
alternative. You know how there's a big market
I was
of
saying Tim Pool's defense. He's a good guy to go to if you just want to know what's going on.
yeah, but it's like for a lot of people, like you know
If he
how
doesn't
people
believe
get
that.
paid to basically make alternative news sources, you know? You
No,
know,
alternative news is like homegrown. Like when I say alternative news, it's like
oh, you
people
mean
in their
like,
bedrooms,
okay,
people
yeah.
in like their houses. Alternative is like the opposite of what is the like where it's like the orthodox and then the unorthodox.
Yeah. But
But
how
yes, there's a
long
lot
can
of
it
things
stay?
where YouTube is now trying to be like they're trying to astroturf people and trying to make you think that they are like from the ground up that they're a upstart person, they're like an underdog. It's like no, they're not. They are fake. They're paid for and bought by corporations. Like a lot of these people you see on YouTube now, like that van life chick Candace or that Philip DeFranco, or a lot of, they're just there to push the mainstream narrative. If you don't push the narrative, you're gonna get shut down. You're gonna get unpersoned. You're gonna get deplatformed.
Yeah.
Because that's double plus on good, and we can't have that.
Yeah. New game plus. New game. What if this is just the propaganda stage of the game? We got the propaganda
Whatever it is,
DLC.
it's gonna go on like this. We're not gonna. Again, in closing, nothing is ever going to change. If you're not working towards a better life now, you better get on it, because your life is going to remain, for the foreseeable future, outside of things getting a bit more shitty and authoritarian, exactly the same.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe we're just a collective consciousness.
If we are lost in this ourselves, and that was the whole point, because again, like we said, it's, if you are a collective consciousness, that would mean that you are everything. At a certain point somewhere, we are everything that has been, ever will be, or ever was. And then we got bored, so you threw yourself into all these infinite lifetimes that you're going to keep reincarnating into forever, so you'll never remember that you got bored. So then it does us no good to even try to remember, like, but what were we? Because the whole point of us being here is to forget that we are a bored, omnipotent, all-seeing, all-knowing consciousness.
Even though we're bored in this life.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's fucking. How's that one? It's like, all I wanted was novelty!
Yeah, what if this was just some wish and we were like, I just wished I was never bored. Then it got granted, but it's like, be careful what you wish for. Or maybe we wished for being an all-knowing, but we knew too much. You know?
I definitely think knowing everything and having ever done everything and like having no fear, no uncertainty of the future to come, no strange phenomena to wonder about, the unknown, the like you are the unknown, you are the arcane, you are the mystery, you are the season finale, you are everything that you ever hope to find in this life where you're like, ooh, wouldn't that be cool? Like, and you are. You've done it. You've loaded it all. You've beaten the map. You've unfogged everything. You've new game plus this thing. You have gotten every expansion. You've played the game from fucking the Primordial Ooze to Ragnarok, and you are done. You are like, God, I am so fucking bored.
Activating it will buy you more time.
What next?
What is next? What is next? That's a catchy ring to it. What is next? What is the future? What is the past? What is next? Next to us could be nothing. Or next to someone else is everything. Next to...
What's next is to see how long we've been going. I think we're at like an hour now.
Yeah, I think so. Hold up, let me get my phone out. I think was good. I feel like it was longer though, but we'll see. Thank you.
Tell me what next.
Is it? Also, we're probably gonna do all of our podcasts more so in the mornings than late at night. So for anyone that wants to watch us when we're live and join in the chat, maybe we can have a discussion with you in the chat. We're gonna need to wait a little. You're gonna need to come in the mornings. Usually around this time we do one. And we've been going for about an hour. Yeah, that was good. I'm gonna stop it. Thank you for anyone that watched. Anything you want to say?
What did you think of all that? If it is an infinite purposes, what does it really matter? You are basically lost and it's if you're playing a game, why not get good?
Okay.